Recliner Sports Reporters, welcome back to another week's episode of Knockout Bets Podcast, brought to you by Recliner Sports Report. I'm Mac, and with me, as always, is Andrew. Andrew, how are we doing, buddy?
Hey.
Already off to a great start with this reception. I don't know anything you're saying. It's okay. We're just going to keep fighting through this. No, eventually you'll come back to me. This is what it's really like. Low Wi-Fi. Low places. Hey, you back?
Did I go somewhere? Hi.
Yeah, you left for like us at 30 seconds. It's on me, though. I have that unstable internet connection. But, yeah, you doing good, buddy?
Yeah, everything's good. I'm excited to get into this card. There's some fights on here that are super exciting. I was saying, I don't know if you heard me or not, but I was saying strongest card, like top to bottom, every single fight. But there are some absolute bangers on here, and a few of the highlighted fights that we've chosen to talk about tonight, I'm really excited to talk about now and to see this weekend.
Dude, I'm so pumped to be able to go to the fights this weekend. It's been long overdue for us to see a fight in person. So I'm super pumped. And what better card than Brian Ortega versus Yair Rodriguez? Super strong.
Early card for us to be in this stadium for. Early card for everybody out there watching at home, especially in the Eastern U.S. Well, and I guess out in the West, that makes it even earlier. So right. Super early card for anybody in the U.S. Nice time for those people over in Europe. And, we've got the London card coming next week. So we've got two in a row that are going to be nice timing. Yeah. But, it's going to be an awesome card. I'm so pumped to be there live and in person. It's going to be awesome.
Oh, it's going to be great. Love it. Love every second of it. That brings us to our first fight of the night, buddy. The one that we're breaking down. I love these two fighters. We got Ricky Simone coming at 19-3 versus the great Jack Shore coming in at 16-0. Give me your first thoughts on this one.
Yeah, man, this is an awesome fight. The first thought is that it is a crying shame that this fight is not on the main card. This fight should absolutely be on the main card. It feels like one of those ones where, if we have somebody with a bad weigh-in on the main card and a fight gets canceled or something, this feels like the one to bump up. It's like when they had Sean O'Malley on the prelims a couple of weeks ago, and the fight got canceled. He got bumped up to the main card where he should have been. Tate and Lauren Murphy, which is now on this card, just got put. And doesn't matter to me. I mean, I'll watch it whenever it happens. Happy to see it, but shine both of these guys. Jack Shore is a really exciting, undefeated prospect on the come up. Had a great fight his last time out with Timur Valiev. Really showed that he can go deep into a fight, that he can carry his gas tank and cardio deep into a fight. He showed his hands a little bit in that fight. He knocked Valiev down twice. He's known primarily as a grappler, as a wrestler, but has solid striking that seems like it's getting better. And I almost feel like my, quick soundbite on Ricky Simone is pretty similar. He's a primary grappler, really great, relentless wrestler. He's one of these guys that I love to bet on because he's going to go hard for your money. He's never going to quit. He's never going to give in. He's going to keep going after those takedowns. He's got a great gas tank. Like Jack Shore in his last fight, he showed better striking against Asuncao. Yes, Asuncao is super old and on the decline in his career, but definitely saw better striking from Simone in that fight. Simone pressures well. He just keeps coming forward, and I think we're going to see him being the guy coming forward and Shore probably being the guy trying to counter more on the feet, probably being the guy, maybe the guy kind of circling around the outside during the fight. That doesn't mean that he's going to be at a disadvantage because he is incredibly talented. I'm super torn on this one from a betting perspective. Um, I do favor Shore slightly, and so does the line. I do not like this line at all. This to me is a super, super close fight. I don't like betting against Ricky Simone just because of how hard he goes. He's had a higher level of competition so far in his UFC career. He has better wins than Jack Shore does. And that's not Jack Shore's fault. This is just a step up in competition for Jack Shore. Right now, the best line you can get on Jack Shore that I'm seeing is minus 155. The best line you can get on Ricky Simone that I'm seeing is plus 145. I think those are right about where they should be. If this line steams in either direction, then I think the guy you pick against the direction the line goes. I think if I can get Ricky Simone like around plus 170, I would love that bet. If I can get Jack Shore down closer to like minus 130, I might cautiously nibble at that number two. Where the line is at right now, though, not liking picking an over or an under, and not liking either guy where the line is at right now. So for right now, this to me is a fight where we learn a lot about Jack Shore as fans with the step up in competition. And at this very moment in time, it's a pass for me betting wise, but it's definitely one I'm keeping an eye on the line. And if the line moves either way, I could see myself hopping in on either side. But just for pick purposes purely, I think Jack Shore's the real deal. And taking nothing away from Ricky Simone, he's really, really good. But Jack Shore is going to be my pick.
Right. Yeah, I think I'm agreeing with you on the toughness of Ricky Simone, but I like everything about Jack Shore. I think he's a tough fighter. I think his last fight against Valiev really showed he's got some true grit. So I'm excited to watch. I always love watching Jack Shore step into the ring. I love watching Ricky Simone step into the ring. So the fact that we're going to be able to watch these two guys go at it, and it's going to be a true test for Jack Shore against a really great fighter in Ricky Simone. But I think Jack Shore is going to come out top of this. I think the over is something to look at with these guys being so strong, and I think this thing going the distance is something you want to definitely keep an eye out for and see what the line is on that, and you might want to sprinkle that, if not by itself, maybe into a couple parlays.
That's an interesting thought. Let's see if we can see what the line is here.
Yeah, I just think both these guys know how to go the distance. I think both these guys are tough fighters. They're hard to put away. I do think Jack Shore does have finishing techniques, especially in the submission game, but Ricky Simone is no slouch in that UFC, so I do think I could see this thing going the distance.
So the bookies are thinking similar to you. So fight goes the distance. Fight is minus 180 is the best line you can get. If you're looking at under 2.5, minus 230 at under 2.5. So definitely in that scenario, between those two numbers, I'd look more at the fight goes to decision than the over 2.5. But yeah. I mean, I think either one of them is capable of a finish as well. I don't hate that angle, but I don't think that's one I'm going to take personally. I think I'm looking at one or the other money line if the line moves. If the line stays where it's at for the next few days, this is just going to be a super interesting fight to watch, I think.
Oh, yeah, for sure. All right, our next fight of the night, we got Shane Burgos versus Charles Jourdain. Two absolute savages. Burgos is coming in at 14-3, and Jourdain's coming in at 13-4-1. Andrew, what's your thoughts on this one?
This one is, if somebody was making lines for what's going to be fight of the night, this would be the favorite on this card. This is very high-powered striker versus striker. Shane Burgos is a really good boxer, pressures forward. He's another one of these guys like Ricky Simone that just, if you bet on him, he's going to go hard for your money. And, we can say that about anybody in the UFC, anybody that's stepping into the octagon and going at it. But there are just certain guys that go a little harder, and Shane Burgos is definitely one of those. An interesting stat on him, he lands almost 8 significant strikes per minute. Like, he's pressing forward and he's throwing. And he's
Yeah.
throwing and he's throwing and he's throwing. And it's
Yeah.
mostly hands. He doesn't kick a whole lot. But he is just going to be in your face and in the pocket and boxing. Jourdain, also a really, really good striker. Jourdain definitely has a kicking advantage between the two. Jourdain has some really pretty kicks and some really effective kicks. Both guys have great power. Jourdain does too. Either one of them could knock out the other. What I think the difference to me in this fight, the read that I have on it is, what range is the fight going to happen at? Because I think if they're in the pocket just trading, then the advantage goes to Burgos. But if they're at range and throwing kicks and kind of diving their shots in and out, I think that favors Jourdain. I think he's better at range while Burgos is better in the pocket. Both guys are really good in the clinch, but I'd give Burgos a slight advantage in the clinch.
Yeah.
And just the way Burgos fights, he's going to make the fight be in the pocket, I believe.
Right.
And so, therefore, he's my pick. I haven't bet it yet. I probably should bet it soon, because who knows what's actually going to happen, but it feels to me like a line that, as the week goes on, is going to go more and more towards Burgos. So I should probably get a bet in there soon. I'm also looking at the under in this one, and the under is a nice number. You can get you can actually get a plus 100 on the under 2.5 for this fight. I like that number a lot. That's one I actually am probably going to put a bet on once we finish the show here. Both guys have finishing ability. I mean, we saw how tough Burgos is when Edson Barboza stunned him, and he kind of rocks, and then the KO hits him.
Yeah.
That was
wild.
a really weird, like, it was like he shut him off, but he tried to fight through it, but he was really shut off, and down he went.
That's how tough he is.
Yeah, exactly. So that's got to scare you a little bit with an under bet, but having been rocked like that not all that long ago, and having taken a lot of punishment from, I mean, he fought Calvin Kattar, Josh Emmett, he's taken some shots. And so even for somebody who does have a good chin, that can wear on it over time. And Jourdain definitely has that KO power. So that's definitely a little kind of worry in the back of the mind. And Jourdain has shown that he can be finished. And so I'm liking plus 100 on the under. And I'll probably also bet Burgos money line.
Heck yeah, man. I'm
figure out a way to make those two make sense. But
yeah, I'm loving Jourdain here. I just because the plus money. You know me, I'm a sucker for plus money, and I think if you're gonna take an underdog, I think the line is wide enough to go on the plus money side on this one. I think you're right. I think this thing's gonna get bet down probably even more at the minus 170. I know I can't take that by itself, especially with the uncertainty of the power of both these men and the finishing skills that both these men have. I could see this literally being. I could see this Burgos knockout. I could see this Jourdain finish. Don't know which way, because the dude is good at finishing on both sides of the ground and on the feet. So I'm with, just because, just when you, to me, this is like a flip a coin match in terms of who could finish who. I want to be on the plus money side on this one, but I'm not confident saying here, but I could sprinkle a unit on this one, or maybe two on the plus money side on this, just because, again, underdog to me, in a fight this close, I want to be on the underdog side of this, especially when these guys have such good finishing power. I do like your under bet on this one. That's definitely something to look at. I do think, this fight to not go the distance, that's probably another one you'd want to look at. And I think KOs on either side of this could be something you want to look at, either side, Burgos or Jourdain on that one.
There's a lot of ways to attack it. I mean, you can play both guys inside the distance at some plus money. You can play both guys by KO at some plus money. There's definitely ways to look at the numbers and figure out what makes the most sense, looking, like you said, at those KOs, at those unders. and I'm with you there.
Yeah, 100%. All right, man. That brings us to our next fight of the night. We got Li Jinling versus Muslim Salikov. Andrew, I'll let you start. I'll let
So
you
I
start with these.
start to smile only because when like the memory, and he's such a better fighter than this, but the memory that sticks out to me about Lee is when Kamzat just picked him up, put him in his corner, and finished him pretty quickly.
Yeah,
And it was like he just picked him up over his shoulder, put him down right by his own corner, and went to work there.
yeah, pretty
And that
crazy,
was one of the craziest
insane.
dominations of a pretty good fighter in
Yes,
Lee that I've ever seen,
very
and I
good
think
fighter.
in the history of the UFC, to do something like that to a guy who's as good as he is, because he made him look like it was me fighting in there. I
Yeah,
mean,
it was wild.
like he made it look like it was an amateur against. I mean, Kamzat, and we're gonna see him probably fighting
Wild.
for the belt soon, and
Absolutely insane.
all sorts of good things. But anyway, so Lee boxes really well. He's got good power, and he's decently well rounded too. He's definitely not a fish out of the water on the ground. He can grapple a little bit. He can wrestle a little bit. He's a pretty well rounded fighter. Definitely a striker primarily, but has some skills on the ground too. Salikov is an Olympic gold medalist in Sanda, which is a Chinese style of boxing. So he's a really good striker, as you would expect for somebody from that background. Hits incredibly hard with really creative strikes, throws a lot of spins. He's a fun fighter to watch. And he has takedowns in his back pocket. He averages over one takedown per fight.
Yep.
So those are there for him too, and he's got decent control on the ground. The one drawback to him is, as good a striker as he is, he's one of these guys that can be so good and I think almost maybe like fall in love with trying to find the perfect shot or trying to find that one punch KO, to where he ends up being low volume at times, and that can be problematic. I think this is Salikov all day for me. I'm gonna bet him. I feel good enough about it to probably parlay him. Let me see what his line is. I mean, you can get him at minus 165. That's not terrible to take on its own. But I would even feel okay throwing that in a parlay with something else that you feel really good about, like maybe third to last and second to last fights of the night. You put Salikov in with Amanda Lemos together, and you can get some decent plus money on that. I think Salikov wins the decision. I think Salikov can win by knockout. He can be knocked out, of course. And I think he's got the advantage on the ground if it goes there. But I do think it's going to be mostly a striking fight. I think that favors him pretty heavily, and I feel good about him winning.
Yeah, I like Salikov too, and again, mostly because the devastating performance that G took last fight. I can't bet. I can't bet for that, man. Not after watching that. Now again,
I mean, he's such a better fighter than that.
Kamzat is the real
you.
deal, but I can't put money on someone who got beat like that. I just can't. I can't mentally do it. So I'm going to go with Salikov on this one. I like him. I like what he does. I like his style of fighting. Again, anytime you got these Russian guys, you don't want to bet on the other side of them because they always seem to take your money if you do. I do see a finish here. Again, just basing this off of G's last fight, but I do see a finish here. I do see, a guy with 18 wins and 14 finishes. This guy knows what he's doing, and especially on the feet. And you already know his wrestling's going to be good. So if he's already dangerous on the feet, that's he's gonna make quick work of it.
Oh yeah, he's a primary striker.
Exactly.
That's his thing, is to come knock you out.
Yep. So I think a guy with that type of striking ability, with he's got to have some type of Russian wrestling background. I think the guy's he's gonna be well rounded, and I think this is gonna be an easy win for Salikov.
So the only thing really that gives me pause about Salikov is, yes, he's on a 5-fight win streak. The competition is a tiny bit suspect. So last fight, he beat Francisco Trinaldo, who's a really good fighter and also 43 years old at the time of that last fight. And so I think just because of 43 years old, you have to question that a little bit. He also beat, I'm going to butcher this pronunciation, Elizio Zaleski dos Santos. I think I actually got that pretty close to right. Who's okay career in the UFC, but nothing super special. He beat Laureano Staropoli again. You know, not the best fighter you've ever seen, and not even in the UFC anymore. And saying not the best fighter you've ever seen. His UFC career was really not that great. He did beat Nordine Taleb. That's an okay win. I mean, that's a vet in the UFC who's had some good performances. Just saying the level of competition is a little bit suspect and give me a little bit of pause, but the performances he's put on and the quality he has, I feel good about him in this one.
Yeah. All right. And that takes us to our main event of the evening, the one we've all been waiting for, Brian Ortega versus Yair Rodriguez. I know where my money's going to be at, but Andrew, let me hear your thoughts on this one.
I want to hear you go first. I'm so curious.
I'm Brian Ortega all day. I think Yair is a great fighter, and I think his fight against Max Holloway really proved that he's a tough individual. But Brian Ortega is going to be hungry. He came off a very tough loss to Volkanovski, where I think he learned a lot. And I think, again, Volkanovski we've seen is a very tough fighter. Ortega has fought nothing but the best in his last 3 fights. You know, I think that this guy has always fought the best. This is Yair's the next best one in that division, and I think he's going to get it done. And I don't see this thing being a finish, but I do see this thing going the distance. I think the toughness of both these fighters and their last performances show that they know how to do that. So I'm going Brian Ortega all day, and the other one I would look at is definitely the over, and I would definitely look at maybe even Brian Ortega decision on this one.
Okay. That's really interesting because we're exactly kind of opposite. So the way I see Ortega, he can run hot and cold. He can come out and look like $1 million, and he can come out and look like crap.
Yeah.
And so that's always a worry with him. He's an amazing grappler with not really good takedowns. Like his takedown percentage is somewhere in the 20s. And for somebody who's as amazing at jiu-jitsu as he is, to not be hitting the takedowns like that is interesting anyway. He's got solid striking, but he takes a lot of shots. I mean, you just talked about his fight against Max Holloway, the damage he took. Holy crap. Yair is definitely the better striker here in this one. To me, he has fun spins and kicks. He's really fast with the hands. Definitely, I think, going to have a speed advantage with the strike. We saw Max Holloway, who is not known for his takedowns, take down Yair 3 times in their fight.
Right.
Towards when I first saw this, I went, "Oh, Yair doesn't have really good takedown defense, and Ortega has amazing submissions. As soon as he gets them on the ground, it's over." And I still think that's a possibility. I also think that either one of them could knock each other out, but Yair has the much better shot for the knockout. And that makes me want to look at the under. And just, I know, MMA math doesn't work this way, but if you look at how both guys fought against Max Holloway, Yair definitely, to me, had a way better performance against Max Holloway than Ortega did. And those are fights happened at different times in recent history. It's a different style matchup for each guy because you have Ortega being the primary grappler and Yair being the primary
Yep.
striker, and so it's not a perfect science, but Yair to me definitely had a way better performance against Holloway. And given where the line is at, yeah, I haven't put a bet in on it yet, but plus 140 on Yair is tempting to me. What's also tempting to me is Brian Ortega by submission. And I'm really mad at myself that I didn't get on that line earlier in the week because I saw it earlier in the week, like up over plus 400. And that should have been a no-brainer. And I don't know why I got distracted to something else and never put the bet on. But that line has gotten steamed down. It's only plus 280 right now, Ortega by submission, when you could have gotten around plus 400 earlier in the week. So that's one of those, sometimes getting your bets early is a good thing because a lot of people might see the same thing you do and steam a line like that. But even at the plus 280, that's still a tempting number to me, to look at the fight that way. Yair on the ground just really doesn't do it for me. And I think all it could take, it could be the first time the fight goes to ground in the first or second round that the sub happens. It also could be because Ortega's takedowns aren't that great that Yair boxes him up the whole fight or knocks him out. I'm all over the place with how I'm seeing it, but slight lean to Yair and slight lean to the under. Haven't put any of those bets in because this is a main event. I'll have a bet of some kind somehow, but I don't know what it's going to be yet.
Yeah, I see every side you're saying there. But yeah, I'm still gonna rock with Ortega on this one, man. I'm liking. I think he's gonna come back. He's good at having a bad fight, then coming back and having a good fight. So I think he's trending on back to how he's gonna have a really good performance here. All right, that takes us to our knockout bets of the night. My knockout bet, I'm going with Charles Jourdain, buddy. I'm seeing a knockout, and I'm gonna slam that one heavy.
There's some good plus money on that. I think I just saw that's like plus 350 or something like that.
I love it.
Where do I want to go for a knockout on this one? I have 2, 3. I mean, to do the cheat thing and just say fight ends by knockout for Joseph Jourdain, that's one to look at depending what the line is. You're probably not even going to get that great of odds on that, but it's something to look at. I think Salikov is very live for a knockout, and I think Yair is live for a knockout as well. To pick one, because I have to for the podcast, I'm going to go with Salikov by knockout for my pick this week.
Awesome. My lottery ticket, I love this one. It's a little 5-teamer, plus 500 odds. I'm taking Soriano, Shore, Sumanajari, Lemos, and Ortega.
I love it. I'm just going to throw out a few underdogs that I like. I bet Dustin Stoltzfus at plus 140 earlier in the week. That line is now down to about plus 120. So I'm liking that I beat the line movement there. But in a lottery ticket, that plus 120 is going to help up your odds for sure. In a lottery ticket bet, I'm all over Ricky Simón at the plus 145. Like I say, I mean, I'm so back and forth on that fight. I may end up betting Ricky Simón. I think that is a total pick'em fight, and he's out there at plus 145 right now. With the popularity of Jack Shore, with the prospect status he has, I'm hoping actually kind of, even though Jack Shore is my pick to win the fight, which might not make sense to some people, but if I can get like that plus 170 or plus 180 on Ricky Simón, I'm going to be all over that. But that's not what we're talking about. So anyway, that plus 145 Ricky Simone would be in a lottery ticket for me. What else? Let's see. I mean, Yair's got to be in there. So those are all some small underdogs. I don't really like any of the big underdogs this week. I mean, the biggest underdog that I would think about maybe taking a shot on is Herbert Burns. And that's a weird fight because those guys both had their opponents strap out and they just kind of threw them together. I think Burns has a probably better than plus 175 chance in that fight. So that's maybe the biggest underdog that I'd look at. But I think there are a few, if you put together 3 or 4 small underdogs in a parlay, you can get yourself a nice plus money number.
Heck yeah. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for watching. Stay tuned for this weekend as we make sure we document our time in the UFC arena in Elmont, New York for UFC Long Island this weekend. Thank you all again for tuning in and all your support. Follow us on our Twitter at recliner_report. Follow us on our TikTok, Recliner Sports Report. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Facebook. We're all over the place. Give us a smash and a like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. Thank you again for your continued support. This has been a fun ride, and I'm loving everything of it, man.
You beat me to it. I was just going to say follow us on all the social media because we'll be posting some cool stuff this weekend.
Yeah,
from
we're
Long
coming
Island.
up close to 300 on Twitter, which is crazy to think about where we started, man. I know that's not big for some people.
I mean, you literally
really
start from zero, and
it's been a hustle.
And you build little by little
for almost 2 years, and we're finally actually starting to get some traction. Our TikTok's almost at 1,800 now, which again, thank you all. We're trying to reach that 10K, so please give us a follow. It goes just hitting follow and like. Just doing those 2 things. We're not looking for any money. Just do those things. Just do that. It goes a really long way.
Just interaction and socialization. I mean, I enjoy when I have like a little downtime on my lunch break or maybe tiny little downtime on my work and I can just hop on Twitter for 2 minutes and somebody wants to talk about, who's the best light heavyweight of all time, or what do you think about this fight that's coming up this weekend, or oh, look at this crazy knockout from 3 years ago that remember this highlight, like right. All that stuff. And I get on there with the baseball bets and just trying to interact and have good conversations with people and lift each other up. That's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about, man. All right. Well, again, thank you all so much for tuning in. We love you all. And can't wait to see. Please stay tuned for this weekend. It's going to be a great one. And until next week.
You see us at UBS Arena. Come up and say hi. We'll put you on our TikTok channel.
For sure.
I mean, 100%. That's our biggest social media. We have closing in on 2,000 followers on there. So, if you're somebody that's looking for followers, we can make a TikTok together at the arena.
We're all about collabing. All right. Thanks again, everyone. And don't forget, keep the change.
Keep the change.